Hey everyone, it's Matt. The question is, should you invest in stocks or rental real estate? Well, that's the question, so let's get into it. This is probably going to be part one of probably a multiple part series, simply because this is a pretty big question and I could literally make probably a 30-minute video talking about this, but I don't want to have you hang around for 30 minutes, so let's make it quick and let's do part one. So my first question to you would be, well, you have a bunch of money, you want to invest in something. Well, my question would be, what is your objective? What do you really want from your investment? Do you want to invest in stocks and maybe get quarterly dividend payments from stocks and maybe to capitalize on some price appreciation? Do you want to short-term day trade stocks? Do you want to trade stocks and maybe take out $100, $200, $500 a day by trading stocks? Or do you want something a little bit longer term like rental real estate where you can get monthly cash flow and virtually pay nothing in taxes? Whereas if you invest in stocks or day trade stocks, you're going to pay a much higher tax rate. It depends. If you're trading stocks actively, you're going to pay much higher taxes versus if you are just investing in stocks and coming back in 5 years and selling them, well then you would have short-term capital gains. Again, we can talk about all that in a different video, but that is definitely a very large topic as well. So again, let's talk about this. Stocks versus real estate. Well, what's my opinion? Well, we can talk about that too, but let's talk about this from an objective standpoint rather than just my opinion. With stocks, like I said, you have the opportunity to extract potentially quite a bit of money on a daily basis out of the stock market. However, at the same time, let's not forget, you can also lose quite a bit of money on a daily basis trading in the stock market, right? So that's one of the downfalls. However, if you do know what you're doing, it's an amazing opportunity where you can potentially extract quite a bit of money on a regular basis, multiple times a day or even daily. You can trade as much as you want. You can trade as little as you want. You got to embrace the volatility though. There's a lot of opportunity if you know what you're doing. What about rental real estate? Well, one thing about rental real estate is you need, a little bit of cash to get into it, but realistically, if you want to day trade, you kind of need a decent amount of cash to get started with that anyway. But with rental real estate, what can you do with this? Well, you can buy a property, you can get monthly cash flow, you can have somebody else manage the property if you want to, and you could almost be completely hands off and collect your monthly rental checks each and every month, month over month, covering all of your expenses on the property and taking advantage of the cash flow, which is the difference between whatever you're collecting in rents versus what you're spending on expenses, and that is the difference being the cash flow. Now, one really nice thing about rental real estate is it is tax-free income if you're doing it correctly. Again, this is another really big topic, but the deal with rental real estate is you have something where you can write off everything pertaining to that property. Property taxes, insurance, maintenance, repairs. You can have insurance written off. You can have cleaning. You can do your management, anything like that, anything that pertains to the property expenses. You cannot write off principal on your mortgage, but you can write off every other expense. On top of that, you can depreciate the property, which is also called a phantom loss. In other words, when you go to file your taxes and you figure out how much did I actually make on this property, let's just say you made $8,000 in cash flow. But guess what? You get to depreciate the property, whatever that depreciation calculates out to. It's over 27 and a half years. But that's another phantom loss that you can take on against your rental income that would otherwise offset your rental income, ultimately resulting in typically a loss on paper each and every year. So again, the main question comes back to, do you want to invest in stocks where you can get short-term gains on a daily, weekly basis or monthly basis if you want? Or do you want something more like a stable investment, a little bit more of a stable investment, where you can get monthly cash flow out of your property and probably get some price appreciation as well over the course of owning that property? Now again, with stocks, typically it's a shorter-term hold, whereas rental real estate is probably a little bit longer, anywhere between 2 and 5 years, probably typically as a minimum. Whereas many people come in, buy stocks, hold it for anywhere between a few minutes, maybe a couple days, maybe a few weeks, maybe a year or two. I would say holding stocks for a year or two is probably a very long hold period for most people. So again, I wanted to make this really brief because this is probably going to be series number 1 in many, many parts of this series. So hope this gives you a little bit of thought, something to think about for a little while with a few different options here. There's definitely a lot to think about, and they are very, very different vehicles, but both can be very, very lucrative at the same time. All right, that's number 1. Let's get into another part here in a short time. Thanks again. I'll catch you in the next video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button right down below. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you soon.